Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP, and I wanted to talk about planning and the difference between SI planning and NI planning. Um, when we think of planning, there are two different ways of actually seeing this. And I mean planning for the future, not like like thinking function organization or organization of different things. I'm talking about planning for the future, um, constructing a plan. Um, I think that we can look at the NI dominance and at the SI dominance, and to a lesser degree also the people with it in their auxiliary function. So INFJ, INTJ, ISFJ, ISTJ, and the extrovert versions of those types. Um, and this is something I talked with my INFJ friend about. And I'm also thinking about my ISFJ friend and my ISTJ dad. Um, I also I think ISFJ uncle uh, and my ISFJ aunt. Um, and some other, I'm an INTJ girl that I know from my school. So, NI users, they have a vision for what the future will look like and they take the steps to get there. Um, they might not know what all the steps are to get there, but they know that they have to get there and they'll tweak the road towards that in order to get to the destination that they are envisioning. And so they often have a pretty clear idea of what they want to accomplish, um, what they were meant to do in a sense. Um, I'm talking about life plans here. When we're talking about um, regular plans, like going on a trip, they might be a little bit less detailed about what the plan would look like, but they feel better when they have a plan so that they don't need to deal with all the SE, well, all the chaos of the world. By having a plan, they don't need to think about the chaos as much. Um, and usually they've envisioned everything before they go to different places. Um, my INFJ friend runs simulations in his mind of like how the situation will play out, and it's usually pretty close to reality of how it will play out. So in that way, he feels prepared, and um, he's making a plan in his head. SI users are actually not really planning, but they are scared of the future in most cases, and they want to be prepared for the future. So they make a plan so that they can take care of every eventuality that might arise, which is their NE, their inferior function. So they know that all sorts of things can go wrong, so they will prepare so that those things will not happen, hopefully, um, and by writing a pretty meticulous plan. So I've said this before, but my dad, my ICJ dad, he's very rigid about and very meticulous about his plans um, that usually have a time and a place and that are written down on pieces of paper, very organized. Um, I don't think that my ISFJ friends are that way, but they do like me telling them in advance before I come to visit. Um, because they want, or they ask me what is the plan for the day, and like usually I don't have a plan. Uh, I might have a sort of a plan that I'll go see them at some point during the day, and that I'll maybe go in town and maybe shop or something like that. But it's not like I have decided the venue where we're going to eat, or that I've decided what at approximately which time I'm going to meet them, it's kind of up in the air, those kinds of things. But I do have SI, so I do see I do like having some sort of planning in my life, compared to certain types that are dominant perceiving types, like the ENFP or something like that. But I do like knowing a little bit what's going to come, but I don't actually plan. So SI and NI they're both planning. They're both trying to deal with the future. But SI is more about preparing for what could happen in the future, and NI is more about planning to get to the future that is meant to be, in a way, and tweaking things along the way to subtly get down the right path. So SI users typically don't really have a grand plan for your life. Usually the plan is more like upholding traditions and fulfilling their duty. It's a little bit more about making sure that everything is pretty much stable and that it will stay stable in the future. If they're a little bit more adventuresome, they might have a hard time seeing what's like the future would look like. And that can be very scary for them. So that's why a lot of SI users don't break the mold, in a sense. As a person who is often in the FI-SI loop, I do get that at times when I'm stressed. But in the end, I think that I'm more flexible about what my vision of the future would be. Well, I think that SI users in general have a pretty conventional view of how the future will look like, with children, family, kids, a car, 1.5 children, that kind of thing. But there are certain ISFJs, INTJs that break the mold. My father, for example, traveled quite a bit and did not, like when he was young. Now he's settled in one place, but he wanted to explore different places to live and such. My ISFJ best friend is a very he's pretty flexible about what the future will bring. He's not planning on having a family or children. He thought that maybe he would go to Médecins Sans Frontières and go to a place like Rwanda or a place that needs medical assistance, which is very ISFJ of him, that he wants to help people in that way. Very, very admirable. But he's not set on anything. He just wants to prepare to make sure that like everything's okay for him and for the people that he loves. But INFJs, they have a pretty set course of where they want to go, and they know what it is. Then the way to get there is a little bit more fuzzy. They just subtly kind of know what is right to do. So I don't think that they regret things as much, because they're constantly moving forward. And I is about forward thinking. It's not about staying stuck in the past. So my INFJ friend, he's become more flexible with time because, well, his ordinary plan didn't really work out at the moment. But he still has that vision of becoming an artist who makes art for video games, and in that way can create a story that will touch a lot of people. So now he's been exploring other avenues, which I think is pretty positive, because that means that he can see that he can achieve a similar effect, a similar impact through doing different things. Instead of like trying and trying and trying and getting disappointed when he doesn't get in. So I hope it works out for him. It is tough if the NI vision is like difficult to attain. Because NI users, they can't let go. Once that vision is formed, it's like that's what they are. That's what they're going to work towards the rest of their lives. So yeah, I also see this in my INTJ friend. I haven't seen her in a while, but she is. She wants to become a neurosurgeon, and she's really committed to doing that, to working towards that. And so she's moved to different places in order to get there. She is pretty alone in all this. But what happened is that her dog died, and her dog was one of the biggest things in her life. And I think that she hadn't planned on that happening, like right at the moment where she was looking for jobs. So I think that was kind of a setback. I think it's hard for both SI and NI users to deal with when something unpredicted happens, because they're judgers. All of these types are. So being a judger, they are more prepared for these kinds of eventualities, but they're less flexible. So it can be tough. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to talk about. Tell me what you guys think about NI and SI and preparing. Yeah, have a great day.